man is recognized all over the world, and we appreciate you for allowing us to come and be a part. And I first want to, well, I guess it'd be second now, and I should have switched it around because my first adoration goes out to God the Father, because God, He is my source. He is the reason that I am where I am today, and He is the reason that I'm going to be even greater in life and days to come. So let's give it up for God, if you don't mind. That's what I'm talking about. I bring you greetings from Epiphany Consulting LLC. We are a motivational speaking group, and we are just excited about what we are doing because we want to see lives change. As I stated, my name is Daryl Dandredge. This is my partner, Mr. Ojinga Carr. So if you will, you get a chance to hear from him just a little bit later on, and he is just an awesome and phenomenal man. He's number one, a man of God and all, but I am so grateful and happy to be working with Mr. Carr. So let's give it up for Mr. Carr. We're going to be with you all for a little while on this morning, just for a little bit, because we want you to have a change of mind. We want you to have a change of heart in the case that your thinking is stinking. Is there anybody here who has some stinking thinking? Let me see your hand. Anybody got stinking thinking? Sometimes. Come on, come on, come on. Because my hand is up not just to show you what to do, but that mine is stinking every now and then as well. But my goal in life is to change what I'm thinking about whenever it becomes negative. So I want you to know today, and I want you to think about this, that your thinking determines whether you are stinking. All right. Your thinking determines whether you are stinking. Wow. Now, I want you to understand that I'm not talking about stinking. Come on, everybody. I need everybody. Raise your hand. Raise your arm. The person that's sitting next to you, I want them to put their nose in your armpit. Oh, come on now, help me. I'm just kidding. You got some folks just know. But actually, it's not about stinking. Come on, get that with me. It's not about stinking in your body and your odor, but it's actually about your attitude. Do you have a stinking attitude? Are your words stinking? Are your thoughts stinking? Are your actions stinking? And so that's what we want to talk about today, because I want you to know this, and this is what I want you to carry away from here today. One thing that I want you to carry at least, and that is that your thinking affects your speaking, and your speaking affects your acting. Did you hear me? Your thinking affects your speaking, and your speaking affects your acting. That's what we're going to deal with today, okay? I want you to know that when your thinking is altered, it is off-centered, you're thinking crazy stuff, you're thinking bad stuff, it's going to affect the rest of your life. It's going to affect the rest of your life. That's why it is so important to always invest in yourself. Always invest in yourself. Always find things that you will be able to improve upon yourself. Because when you change your thinking, if your thinking pattern is off, if your mindset is all cloudy and it's confused, it's going to affect the rest of your life. Not only is it going to affect your life, but it's going to affect those that are around you. Okay? So our thinking has to be proper. Let everybody say proper thinking. Proper thinking. Proper thinking, because if your thinking is improper, your actions are going to be improper. And before that happens, your speaking will be improper. So that's what I want you to understand today about your thinking. I was listening to one of my favorite speakers, Zig Ziglar. Anybody ever heard of Zig Ziglar? Zig Ziglar is an awesome speaker. And he was talking about this lady who she wanted to meet with him because she was having some issues in her life. So she went to him and she said, Mr. Ziglar, I'm having some really bad problems. And what I want you to do is help me. He said, well, what's wrong, honey? She said that I hate my job. I'm not going to ask the question in here today who hates their job, because your boss is sitting over here. But she said, I I hate my job. He said, well, what's the problem? She said, I hate the company. I hate the people that work there. I hate my bosses. I hate the hours. I just hate everything about the company. He says, well, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go home today, get all of your chores done, get everything done, and before you go to bed tonight, what I want you to do is get in a room by yourself, take out a piece of paper, and write down everything about your job that you like. She said, well, that's not going to take long because I don't like anything about my job. He says, tell you what, let's start right now. Take out a piece of paper and write down 2 things that you like about your job. She stood there and she just looked at him. He said, no. He said, let's start right now. Take out a piece of paper and give me 2 things that you like about your job. And she just stood there and looked at him. So then he said this. He says, ma'am, you know what I've discovered? That is that a person will never take the second step until they take the first step. A person will never take the second step until they've taken the first step. Wow. Many of us will never get to a place in our lives that will cause us or allow us to have ultimate success because we're not willing to take the first step to do what it takes. And you know what that first step is? It's to invest in yourself. It's to invest in yourself because you have to create a mindset of positive thinking. You have to have positive thinking. Because many people, everybody's thinking. Now, you know, this scientist says that it is virtually impossible for a person not to ever be thinking about anything. Even when you sit there, you ever had somebody ask you, what are you thinking? Nothing. But actually, you're thinking about something. You're just not thinking about anything that's worthwhile for the moment. Are you with me? We're always thinking. So the thing about it is that you need to be always thinking about something that's going to cause your life to become better. And not only your life, but the life of those who are around you. This is what the Bible says. As a man thinks in his heart, or as a woman thinks in her heart, so is he. You are what you think about. You are what you think about. If you're always thinking negative stuff, you're always thinking bad stuff, you're always thinking about hurting somebody, you're always thinking about talking about somebody, you are that kind of person. You are someone that will hurt somebody else, or you are someone who will kill someone else. Because you have to make sure that you're thinking positively. Who am I? You will always be poor if you're always thinking poor. Are you with me? The majority of people that live a continuous lifestyle of being poor are the people that's always thinking about being poor. You don't believe me, do you? You don't believe that, do you? You say, wait a minute, I'm poor. Somebody in here may be poor. And say, but that's not what I think about. You say, my mama, you know, she's always talking about we need more money. My dad is always saying money don't grow on trees. So what's the deal? It has to do with our thinking. What are you thinking about? How are you going to improve? How many of you have ever heard of, and the first question is, how many of you have ever heard of the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I knew I was going to get it because I've done my homework. Now, Senior Master, I ask that you close your eyes, please. How many of you, his eyes are closed, read at least 6 chapters of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Okay, let's hear that. Okay, you can remove your hands from the eyes. Thank you so much for reading that book, because that book is an awesome book. It challenges us to change our thinking. That book became one of my favorite books. It really did. Robert Kiyosaki, for those of you who read the book, and all of you read it, you know something about the book. He had 2 dads. He had a rich dad and he had a poor dad. His poor dad, check this out, made well over $100,000 a year.